A UVI may be too volatile and its constituent unit values may be excessively dispersed if the classification includes a heterogeneous assortment of a variety of goods. For goods known to be homogeneous, however, a volatile or dispersed set of customs data is still the best option to use. Consider, for example, crude petroleum. There are many well-defined categories of crude petroleum based on its key quality characteristics, density, and sulfur content. For example, Brent crude is one of these standard categories with a defined density and sulfur content. That makes all crude petroleum with this classification effectively homogeneous. If more Brent crude is exported or imported from a cheaper supplier in a month, the aggregate price should fall. Compositional shifts for a homogeneous good are rightly reflected in aggregate unit value changes. However, if the UVI category includes more than one type of crude oil, then volatility and dispersion tests could indicate that the UVI is not reliable. Most item groups for XMPIs are defined using the single characteristic of its HS classification. This produces one unit value composed of all transactions for that product classification. Further separation or disaggregation of the unit values has been found to reduce the dispersion and volatility of UVIs of some classifications. These additional characteristics may include, for example, the country of origin for imports or destination for exports, the domestic port of origin or destination. For exports, an indication of whether the goods are domestically produced or re-exported, quality determining characteristics such as additional detail about the size, features, and material used in the manufacture of the shipped goods if this data is available. Thus, what may at first appear to be an unreliable UVI may become reliable when further disaggregated. Research has found that there is no single set of characteristics that will work with all types of goods. A useful strategy is to first identify which HS classifications have unreliable UVIs, then identify those with major weights and high resource costs of business surveys, and finally to empirically examine the volatility and dispersion of the resultant constituent UVIs and unit values if broken down by characteristics, choosing the most effective. NSOs should develop specialist knowledge of the markets and producers, particularly for heavily weighted classifications, to determine the characteristics that could be used to form separate UVIs. These more detailed UVIs should then be tested to determine if they reduce volatility and dispersion. Let's look at an example of track laying tractors. The data source allows for disaggregating the value, quantity, and thus the UVIs by 46 US embarkation ports. These data show that such exports are mainly through 3 ports: Baltimore, Maryland, Houston, Texas, and Savannah, Georgia. A reason for disaggregating by port would be that tractors are likely to be highly diverse in terms of size, quality, and price, that is unit value. Different manufacturing establishments located near different ports might concentrate their output in different price segments of the market. This table shows the volatility analysis of the track-laying tractors after they have been disaggregated by port of export. In this example, disaggregation by port does not lead to less volatile UVI series. Indeed, the UVIs for Houston, Texas are about 3 times as volatile as their equivalent values for all US ports. It may be that most establishments manufacture a diverse range of models and sizes of such tractors. The monthly composition of their exports may fluctuate significantly according to demand. From this analysis, the aggregation across all US ports seems to smooth the fluctuations and is thus warranted.